With the pitch concretely, it's really asking yourself, the objective. It's giving yourself also something measurable to get out with. So first of all, say, for instance, if it's commercial pitch, to say, well, that we then go in questions and answers, or there's a follow-up meeting, or whatever it is. This will help you, will guide you in building the pitch, if you will. It will help you, as I say, cut out the fluff, right? Too much details, go really straight to the point, because with that objective in mind, it will help you structure that. Then on top, it will help you when you're doing the pitch, or giving the pitch, keeping that in mind, always that objective. You will be able also to know how you're going to argument. This will really help in the structure as well, orally, let's say, not only when you've prepared the printed thing. And then on top, what it will help to do is what I tend to see as of now with any trainees, it's that it helps you relativize. So knowing that, in any case, my objective is not maybe to have them sign it by the end of this meeting, but first go into a Q&A, and then we start the relationship, and et cetera, et cetera. It will help you de-dramatize also a little bit. It will help you also, in a lot of cases, get a little bit of stress down, which then in turn will support more impact in your pitch and a more effective communication. A lot of the times, especially when something big is at stake, we tend to be all the more nervous. And then there's a lot that can happen in the communication where, you know, we're not maybe communicating as we'd like to communicate, and we're not going to that direction of building this relationship based on empathy and trust, which is there to make a successful sale or motivate, convince, etc., etc.
Can you give some examples on how a sales pitch would look different if the objective is to get a meeting, or if the objective is to make a sale?
Well, you always want to make a sale, right? The idea is asking yourselves, whereabout are you in the sales funnel? And you always want to, especially in a first pitch, you want to make yourself known. You want to make people want to work with you. You want to convince them. You're already convincing them. They want to know more. So a very early pitch, especially asking with that question in mind, you're not going to be getting out there and pushing sales in a too pushy manner. You're first going to be planting, what is the problem? You're going to be moving around and explaining what the problem is out there. So you're making the opposite person care. You know, this like, why would I care? So this is what you're going about. When you've asked yourself the question, well, what do I want from this? Actually, you're also asking yourself, well, if you would like, say, to move further in the sales funnel, that's, you know, having a next meeting, exploring maybe details, maybe if you have something technical, going through technicals, etc. So it's not giving away all the cookies, right? This is also what you're going through. That's what I mentioned earlier on with not giving away too much details. It's really thinking about, well, hey, my objective is to get in there, build a relationship, get to the next meeting, etc., to have a successful sale. Then think about it early on in the process. You're first giving bits and pieces of information which are relevant to get to that next meeting. If you're further down the funnel, then the pitch will look obviously different. Then you maybe would add more details. You know also what's been happening before. You recall what's been discussed earlier on, and you're implementing that in the pitch as well, right? So you'll always have, so this is the bad news, you'll always have a different pitch. You'll have a different pitch depending on who's pitching, especially in the company, right? And you'll have a different pitch depending on the audience. But you'll also have obviously a different pitch depending on where you are. You know, that's why you have elevator pitch, one pager. It's all pitching, literally, right? Because it's about selling, convincing, motivating. So these are obviously these questions, and maybe we can summarize this with asking ourselves why or what objective. It's really taking a strategic positions, right? I always tell my trainees, please be strategists, act strategically, think about it before. So there's one thing that you're not going to change. It's obviously the company, the product, the service, the solution, if you're in a corporate or whatever it is. And the red line should stay more or less the same. And depending on where you are also in the maturity of the company, But one thing which definitely has to be adapted every time, in accordance also with these objectives and who you're speaking to and where you are in the process, is obviously what you're going to be showing. That's entirely true.
Maybe the outside listener, the idea of thinking about who's presenting and who's it for might sound kind of obvious, but we've seen time and time again lots of examples of people pitching when they have one goal of selling, but in actuality, they're educating some kind of audience about their product, or they're blogging around about their features or something like this.
Yeah.
So they're losing sight of who this is for. Could you give some examples of bad directions that you have seen in a pitch?
So again, thinking of your objective, this is what's going to help me not be that too pushy sell, in that sense that maybe I'm not going to come out straight out with, so, and collaboration can be like this and that, because maybe the person opposite hasn't decided yet whether they actually are interested in knowing more. Maybe they want to understand a little bit better, and they're still at the beginning of your pitch, if you will, and you're already bombarding them with those. So we could work together like this. And from a communication aspect, that person's maybe thinking like, well, I never said I wanted to be working with you guys, right? So maybe they need other items, maybe they need more references. We don't know that. We don't always know that. So again, we're coming back to what I said earlier on. We're going, especially in the sales pitch and commercial partnership, we're going first into building a relationship. The very early stages are more like teasers, getting people want to work with you. It's like a relationship. It's really, you know, first getting to know each other and asking questions and seeing a little bit, do we even want to be working together? In the end, it is, a lot of people say this sentence, it annoys me, but I'm not finding a better one right now. It's a people's business, and that's true. That's the basis. It's really relationships. So that's for that first part, if you will. Another example in the sense of improving significantly the pitch by doing the prep work, especially with regard to whom am I speaking. It's about capturing the attention, especially if you look at, for instance, pitches with a very broad potential investor basis opposite. Sometimes you'll have people who are a little bit deeper in one topic, but not in the other topic. And you have to find out who's going to be there. And how can people relate to what you're saying? So oftentimes I see this prep work hasn't been done and people tend to trail off. So you see that a lot. You know, they're going to get their mobiles up again, or something going to yawn, whatever it is, right? But a lot of it can be taken away by having done that prep work.
So if you want to tick a box on how to improve your sales pitch on a daily basis, when you're looking at your pitch, when you're preparing a pitch, then you really have a look at, am I clear about my objectives? Do I know who this is for? Do I know who is the presenter of that pitch and in which setting? So what is the goal of this pitch? Because it does matter.